All right, here we go. Welcome everybody to the AO Scanner Simplified course. And where are we at in weeks? I don't even know. I think we're on are we on week like 10? I forgot. But tonight we are kind of going backwards just a little bit because the very first class that we had, the very first class technically was energy. So we talked about energy and we talked about quantum physics and we talked about quantum entanglement. But then the next time that we got there, on the very next class, we ended up talking about inner voice. And when we got to inner voice was just magical to me because from my perspective, inner voice, you can do everything from inner voice. You can take inner voice and run your practice. You can take inner voice and help yourself. You can take inner voice and help your family. You can take inner voice and all of the nuances of the scanner are in some way loaded up into inner voice, and you can use inner voice to figure out how you want to operate. Not to say that vitals aren't good, comprehensive is not good. In fact, I recommend everybody still do an easy scan. Do an easy scan because you're going to get the scanning the optimization. Optimizing is everything. What I suggest that you consider, though, is not going crazy over the reports. When you look at your vital reports and you look at your comprehensive reports, sometimes that can just take you into Looneyville because you don't understand this. And this is showing, am I having a heart attack? Do I have herpes? Do I have gonorrhea or not? And it just drives you insane. I suspect marriages have been broken up over the body scan reports because of what comes up there. And that's just, I don't have any evidence of this, but I just suspect that, seeing gonorrhea constantly showing up isn't necessarily helping relationships, but that is because people don't grasp the concept of frequency and resonance and what's resonating and what's not resonating. But when it comes to inner voice is such a powerful tool because the premise of inner voice is the emotional side, right? But the emotional side is tied into the physical. It's tied into the vitals. It's tied into the comprehensive. It's tied into everything inside of the body. One is not disconnected from the other. So the emotions have an effect on your digestion. The emotions have an effect on your lungs, on your arteries, on your brain, on your veins. It has an effect on everything, and those things have an effect on your emotions, right? So a lot of people here, you're really, really angry, so you're going to have liver issues because the liver is directly tied to the emotion of anger. Where a lot of people don't necessarily make the reverse connection, which is equally true. If your liver is compromised, it can produce the emotion of anger. Everybody gives the emotions the bad rap as though the emotion is causing the problem. The emotion could be an effect of the cause, which could be, in this case, the liver, kidney, bladder, and the emotion of fear. A lot of people think that if you're afraid all the time, it's going to have an effect on your kidneys and your bladder because that's what they notice. We don't have a real grasp on how our organs feel. We have a grasp on our emotions, and we know that we are afraid, and we know we run to pee. We know that these two things are connected. Where we don't necessarily think that if the bladder or the kidneys are compromised, it could signal, the signals going this way could enhance or produce the emotion of fear. Inner voice takes this and it puts it all together. So we have two different things happening here. We have a classroom where there are people sitting here live in the classroom, and we have guests today. So everybody behave yourselves because there are people who are watching us who can't actively participate, but they're watching. Now, why did I do this? Two reasons. First, I think everybody who has the AO scanner, and I'm assuming most of the people who are watching have the AO scanner, who are not in the class. I know everybody in the class does. but I'm assuming that most of the people who are watching have an AO Scanner subscription. And whether they decide to join this class or not, I think it's imperative that they learn how to master that one module. And while this class may not give them everything that they need to master it, it could give them what they need in order to get started. So listen, take notes, I don't know, screenshot if you need to. And some people have wanted a sneak peek inside of what the AO Scan course is. And if I'm going to give a sneak peek, I think that this is the most important module to do that in, because as I've said over and over, from my perspective, the inner voice module is the most important module that we have here. And today my desire is to teach you why. So I've already taught inner voice and how it works and why it works. But today we're going to meticulously go through each note, each of the 12 notes. And what I'm going to show you is how the notes are tied into the physical and where you can start with resolving these things. We also have a bunch of new people who've joined the course recently, and I really want you to go back to Module 2 and watch the Inner Voice course, because in that portion of the course, I taught you how to look at the notes on the top to determine when things are getting better, when things are really, really far out of balance. And that is really going to be imperative for you more easily grasping this portion of it. So those of you who are actually sitting in the classroom, not the ones that are observing from a distance, for those of you who are sitting in the classroom, if you're new here, I will be taking questions, and I might stop here and there to take some questions. If you would like to ask a question on camera, I want you to raise your hand. So go down to reactions and actually raise your hand. Or you can type your questions in the actual comment section. But if you do, type the letters QQ. I'm looking at the classroom now, and it's filling up, which means I probably won't be able to get to probably won't be able to see everything as people chat. So type the words QQ if you're asking a question of me that you want me to actually answer, and that way I can filter things out. All right? So again, welcome. Let us just go ahead and get started. Inner Voice has everything that you need in order to get started with the AO Scanner, balance things out. And if you decide not to go past Inner Voice, that one module alone is worth your subscription. All right, so let's start going through the notes. Oh, and at the end of this, for those of you in the classroom, I got something for you. Because what I'm going to show you here is when notes are out of balance, what do these notes mean? What are they referencing? What are they affecting? But I don't want you to necessarily look at this from one scan. I want you to look at your trends. And part of my commitment to the AO Scanner class is to find ways to help you figure out your trends. And that's the gift that I got for the people in the class today. I got something to help you figure out how, or not figure out, but how to manage your trends, to know what the body is doing overall. So let's get into the first note. So what you're seeing here, you don't have to worry about if you're observing, you do have to write it down. But if you're in the class, everything that you see here will be loaded into the portal. So when you go to watch the replay of this class in the portal, this will be listed there for you to download. All right. So just kind of go with me here. This is note C that might be out of balance. What is the emotional pendulum associated with note C? The emotional pendulum that's associated with note C is unacknowledged versus self-validated. And so you see here in every note, you have your out of balance positive emotion, or out of balance negative emotions, and the positive version of that. When you see the top portion here, what you're looking at is the pendulum of that emotion. You could be somewhere in that pendulum. Scanner doesn't necessarily tell you where you are in that pendulum. You can get a clue by looking at the bottom portion if you have done an inner voice scan with the vitals. What I have done here is remove the bottom portion because the bottom portion changes with every single scan, but the top portion does not. Every time the note C comes up, unacknowledged versus self-validated is going to come up. The positive expressions of that emotion is going to come up. The negative expressions of that emotion is going to come up. And to the left of that, you see certain things dealing with the body. And when you see those things, those are the things that are most affected by the note. In this case, note C. All right. So what are we looking at when we look at this particular? Let me zoom in here. You got the shoulder areas here. You're dealing with, looks like the thyroid. You got the heart. And you have the small intestine and the large intestine. And it looks like you've got other muscles down here, right? So if you were to determine that this is an issue for you or your family member or your client, then if you're going to use this as the measuring rod of how to treat or support, and let's just say you got a wand, these are areas of the body that you might want to consider wanding in order to help the body via inner voice. And again, you can help the body via various ways. Next week, we're going to get deep into meridians and chakras. And then we're going to look at vitals and how to support the system. You don't have to go to every method. You can just decide, I am just going to support the body based off of what the inner scan voice or what the inner scan report is. So if you have a wand, if you've got a light therapy device, this will show you areas that you might want to wand or consider. Now, what I've put down here is information letting you understand what this emotional pendulum can do to the body. In this case, it says, feeling unacknowledged can create a profound sense of emotional distress, leading to chronic stress that negatively impacts the digestive system. This ongoing anxiety can disrupt the balance of gut health, resulting in issues such as bloating, stomach cramps, or changes in appetite. The mind-body connection highlights how emotional well-being is intricately linked to physical health, emphasizing the need for acknowledgement and validation to maintain both mental and digestive harmony. So it's letting you to understand how it's affecting the system, as well as showing you how it might be related to what's up top. Sometimes these match, sometimes they don't necessarily match. But when you find out that you or your client is having trouble in note C, you're going to want to look at this and see what can you match up with that. Meaning, does any of this match up? Particularly if this is a trend. And you might want to treat note C from the standpoint of the emotions. And I'm going to show you that in a moment, how I would treat it from the standpoint of emotions. You might want to treat it from the vitals that you're going to see underneath, which I don't put here because that changes each time and for each person. You might want to use color therapy. In this case, you're going to want to use the green glasses or have them focus on something that is green. But however you decide to focus on this note will help to bring balance. And whether you do that or not, my suggestion is to listen to the tones, because the tones help to balance everything else that you see. Start with the tones first and then move on to your secondary method to help to support the frequencies needed that the tones didn't necessarily get to. So how do you support note C? Well, here are some ways that you can support note C. If you are looking in vitals and comprehensive, look for things that are out of balance with the shoulders. See whether or not that scan or a trend in your scan or your client's scan is showing you things with the shoulder, showing you things with the thyroid, showing you out of balance frequencies with the heart or the small intestine. See whether or not you can validate that with what your client or yourself is actually experiencing, because that's going to help you put together a CEPHI list, a treatment plan, however you're going to call it. If you're a person that's prone to looking at the body systems, well, with these scans or with these out of body or out of balance experiences on Note C, you might want to look at the hormones panel in the body systems. You might want to look at the endocrine system, the circulatory system, and or the digestive system to see what is showing out of balance. Now, if you've been with me for any length of time, you know that I always tell people not to focus on the body systems unless you've already determined that that system is out of balance. Because the body system is always going to give you a set number of entries. It has to. And because it has to give you a set number of entries, you can't look at the body system to know what's wrong. You have to first determine what system needs support, and then look at the body systems to determine how to support it. If you decide that you want to support this person with Note C from the standpoint of emotions, I have Bach flowers here for you because that's what my certification is. I'm still learning the Australian flowers, but you have heather, chicory, willow, holly. These are the flowers that I would look at to support Note C. And if you are a Cephi person and you decide, well, I want to send Cephis, well, here's some place for you to start putting together your playlist. Stiff shoulder 1, stiff shoulder 2. When would you put stiff shoulder 1 into? If the person who's out of balance experience with Note C is experiencing some shoulder issues, because that Note C is prone to that, as we see here. And if that is manifesting, because that is just an inclination, but if it's actually manifesting, then when you get down to the Cephis, here's my suggestion. You also have shoulder pain, muscle and neck. That's muscle, neck, back, shoulder. That's one particular frequency inside of Cephis. And then there's shoulder and shoulder blade. All right. And so it doesn't mean you have to do all of these things. This is one of the things that I really, really want to stress. I am not saying go to the Vitals and Comprehensive and do this. Go to the Bach flowers and do this. Go to the Cephis and do this. Go to the body systems and look for this. You can't do that. But what I'm showing you is find a way that resonates with you and fully support the body in the area that resonates with you. And when you do that, you're supporting the whole system. Start with the tones, because the inner voice tones are designed to balance out the frequency of everything that is not balanced. That is what I call a root treatment. There are two areas, root, branch. A root treatment is designed to balance out everything that's out of balance. A branch treatment is designed to focus on symptoms to give added support and added relief. In every tone that we go through, and I'm going to go through them just a little bit faster than I just did just now, but in every tone that we go through, the premise of Note C is in effect. It's intact. What I was showing you is how I analyze these things. And then we're going to go through each one individually now, a little bit faster, because then I want to show you the power of finding your trend. All right? Let me just pause here for 1 second before I go and come down here to comments. And let's see if there's any questions here. If you have any questions about what I've said thus far, don't try to get ahead of me, and you want to come on, raise your hand, and I will I'll bring you on in a second. Are these musical notes? Pearl, I'm not quite sure what you're asking. You want to retype it, or do you just want to come on and ask it? I'm not quite sure what you're asking. And this is phenomenal. Well, I'm not sure which part you found phenomenal, but I am glad that you did. Let me see. Pearl. All right, it doesn't. Oh, Pearl is watching on YouTube, so I can't bring her. I can't bring Pearl on. So you can retype your question there if you'd like. All right. All right. So, everybody with me? Because again, we're going to move just a little bit faster now because I wanted you to grasp the premise, and now I want to go through each note and show you how things affect the body and what to do. All right. We're going to go to C sharp. Wait 1 second. Before we get to C sharp, I think there was one more question that just popped up. Report that you just showed Bach flowers, but I don't see that in my inner voice report. You're not going to see Bach flowers in your inner voice report. You're not. That is talking about how to support the note itself. So you can find the Bach flowers in the Cephi, if you have the AO scanner. If you have the Quantum Wellness portal, you can find it in the Quantum Wellness portal as well. Or you can just go ahead and get some Bach flowers. So it's not about seeing it in the report. It's about showing you how to support it, ways to actually support it. And those things you're not going to see in the report. All right. All right. C sharp, repetitive thinking versus creative thinking. So you got the positive associations with that note. You have the negative associations with that note. If C sharp is coming up regularly for a person, they're stuck in that repetitive thinking and creative thinking. And it's what we used to, what my teacher, Judy Masters, I love Judy Masters, Trinity School of Natural Health, she called it monkey brain, where you're just constantly thinking of the same thing over and over, and you can't go to sleep because you're repetitively thinking about something and coming up with creative ideas and not able to focus on the next thing because you're constantly bringing back the other thing. That doesn't just wear you out emotionally, it has an effect on your body. So let's zoom in on the body portion of this note. And remember, whenever C sharp shows up, this is what we're going to get. And what are we looking at here? We're looking at the muscular system of the body and the skeletons or the skeletal system of the body. We got the heart valves going on down here. We got the stomach. And we have the large intestine. Looks like we even got the windpipe going on. Is this in the mouth or the mouth area? These are areas of the body that are affected when this note is out of balance. If you look down at what I have given you to focus on, pull it up here. Repetitive thinking, often focused on negative thoughts, can significantly impact both physical health and emotions. This rumination may increase stress and anxiety, causing cortisol levels, raising cortisol levels, and leading to issues like headache and a weakened immune system. Emotionally, individuals might feel trapped and overwhelmed, resulting in hopelessness or depression. Breaking this cycle is crucial for improving overall well-being. And when you start talking about a weakened immune system, you are affecting all of these things because the body is not having what it needs in order to restore order. So, how do we support that? If you are going to support it from vitals and comprehensive, look for things in your vitals and comprehensive to see whether or not the heart valves are out of balance or the heart in general. Look for things on the comprehensive scan for that. Look for things with lungs. Look for things in the stomach. Look for things in the large intestine. And when you find those things, because you probably won't find all of these things showing out of balance with the person who has note C sharp as a major note that's out of balance, because you only get 4. But the ones you do find, you can add them to your Cephi list, or you can wand those areas or put red lights on those areas. If you want to check body systems, musculoskeletal system, circulatory system, digestive system, respiratory system, go ahead and check those body systems charts. And now, if you've determined that this person is dealing with this, that gives the body systems chart a little bit more life, a little bit more meaning, because now you have something to compare it to. Now you have something to look and say, this system might actually be out of balance. And because it is out of balance, now I can look at what's on that report and actually consider it more closely, where you might have a system that is completely balanced, but the body system is still going to show you things because the body system is not designed to show you what's out of balance. The body system is designed to show you where you are weak in an area, and you will still be weak in those areas even if you are balanced. It's just like your predisposition to out of balance, all right? If you're going to use Bach flowers, the ones I suggest are here: white chestnut, honeysuckle, crabapple. This one I feel really, really strong about. White chestnut is at the top of this list. Most of these are not put in any sort of real order of priority. White chestnut is the go-to flower essence for monkey brain, for repetitive thoughts, mental arguments. White chestnut. Crabapple really comes in when you are disgusted by something. Like, I don't want to do this. I'm disgusted by doing it. Why am I doing this? I'm disgusted by doing this. I don't want to go there. I'm disgusted by them. Should I go? I don't want to go. Why don't you want to go? Because I'm disgusted by them. Anytime you have disgust that shows up, and sometimes, to be very honest, people, and this is when you really get deep, people are disgusted with themselves. People hate themselves. And crabapple is just still great, whether it's disgust of others, disgust of self, disgust of things. Honeysuckle is kind of like looking in the past, and you're just constantly daydreaming. All right. If you're going to look at the Cephis to bring something in, you can look at heart disorders, muscles, heart arm, heart plus, heart chakra, and then look at the rest of the scan. Now, this is assuming you've determined that C# is an issue for a client or yourself. And then look at the Cephis, and as you're making your Cephi playlist, add in other things that are specific to that person. All right? These are things that are specific to that note. So you want to get things that are specific to the note if it's relevant, but you also want to get things that are specific to the person. All right. What do you need to narrow down how to support the body system from looking at the hormones panel? See, that is actually out of the scope of this particular class. Right now, this particular class, we're talking about inner voice, and I need, in order just to keep things congruent, I need to answer questions based off of the class that we're having in this moment. Sorry. That is great for what would Dr. Darrell do, or when I get to that portion, or when we're talking about that, or every week we have a question and answer prior to the start of the class. But when we're in the class, I need to keep the questions to what we're actually doing. And right now it's inner voice. All right. Let me go back over here. So that is C#. Let's now go to D. Note D. Note D is coming up for you. Note D is coming up for your clients. Sadness versus inner peace. That is the pendulum that the person who is dealing with note D is swinging from. Sadness, inner peace. The systems of the body that it's going to affect are here. You've got the throat. You have, well, it looks like the liver, but it looks like the whole portion of the digestive system, actually, because you got the liver, you got the pancreas, and it looks like it's coming all the way over to the spleen. I suspect that the person who drew this wasn't great with anatomy, but who knows? You got the stomach incorporated in there. You got the small intestine incorporated in there. You've got the large intestine incorporated in there. So I'm looking at the entire digestive system along with the throat. That's the system of the body that is affected when D is predominant. All right, sadness can manifest in various physical symptoms such as fatigue, headaches, and muscle tension. The body reacts to prolonged emotional distress by increasing stress hormones, which can weaken the immune system and disrupt sleep patterns. This interplay between mind and body highlights the importance of addressing emotional health to maintain well-being. Now, how are you going to support Note D? If you are looking at vitals, you're going to want to look and see whether or not you're finding things that are out of balance in the vitals and comprehensive in the throat. Are you constantly seeing 1 in 9s in the liver? Are you constantly seeing 1 in 9s in the digestion? Or if you do an easy scan, are you seeing anything in the throat, liver, digestion, right? You want to still match up. Even when this is coming out of balance, you want to find in the other reports, if you're going to look in vitals and comprehensive, you want to find what areas are actually manifesting. I think it's important for me to reiterate something that I keep saying, and that is, when a frequency is out of balance, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has reached the point of physical manifestation yet. Long before the liver wears out, the frequency of the liver was balanced. And every day, at some point, the frequency is probably going to go out of balance unless you're a raw vegan. If you're a raw vegan, your frequency of your liver is probably always balanced. I would like for you to mentally raise your hand if you are a raw vegan, and I suspect that less than 1% of the hands got raised, right? If you're not a raw vegan, at some point of the day, the frequency of your liver is probably not going to be perfect. And so that's the reason why trends are important, because as the liver does its job, it might have to work a little bit harder than it would prefer to. And it doesn't mean that the physical liver is showing signs of being out of balance, and it's probably going to snap right back into balance. And again, that's the reason why one scan doesn't show you much. You need to look for trends. If you're going to look at body systems, you want to look at the digestive system and the respiratory system for clues on how to support the body if body systems is your thing. I can't stress enough. If you are the type of person that gets stressed out by reports, if you're the type of person that analyzes things to your own detriment to where you're making yourself sick, stay away from body systems. When I say stay away from them, I want you to run it because you'll get the optimization giving yourself the full frequency of it. But don't go reading those reports if you cannot separate in your mind that this does not mean that this is happening. Stay away from the body systems. Just run it and get the frequency and let your body do its thing. If you're going to use flower essences or Bach flowers, Rescue Remedy, because there's a lot going on, Sweet Chestnut, Rock Rose, and Star of Bethlehem are my top choices from the Bach flowers standpoint. And here are my top choices for Cephis. And a lot of these are going to have, like at the bottom there, homeopathic. I probably will ignore reading the name of any homeopathic because I can never do it. And I'm not trying to make something for you all to make a highlight reel of my butchering words. And so, because I can never get the homeopathy words right, I'll just show them to you and I'll make a joke about them. All right, so that is supporting Note D. D sharp is the next note, and that is emotionally disconnected versus emotionally integrated. The area that shows up when D sharp is out of balance, we have the thyroid, we've got the lungs, we've got the liver, we've got the kidneys, and we've got the testes and ovaries. So we have a wide range here. You got part of the digestive system. The kidneys are also part of the digestive system as it's helping you break down things, but it's also filtering out things like drugs. If you're taking medications, it's filtering out supplements. It's filtering out salts and sugars, and these things are excreted by the kidneys. And there's an impact there on your hormonal system, all right? Actually, I said kidneys, but it looks like they actually included the adrenal glands here because they're highlighted as well in yellow on top of the kidneys. So if you're going to take your wand, if you've determined that D sharp is something that you want to work on, these are areas that you can wand. These are areas you can put light therapy on. These are areas that you can do those things. You can also use color therapy, which is purple. Here's some information that I was able to put down for you. Being emotionally disconnected can disrupt the hormonal system by increasing stress hormones like cortisol, which can lead to various health issues. This disconnection can create a cycle of negative emotions and psychological responses, further exacerbating feelings of anxiety and depression. Ultimately, it can weaken the immune system and impact overall physical health, highlighting the importance of emotional well-being for hormone balancing. So how do you support this? If you're going to look in your vitals, look at thyroid, testes and ovaries, lungs, liver, kidney. If your body systems, hang on, let me get this back. Where'd it go? It literally just disappeared. All right. Everybody hold on. I have got to find this. And there we go. All right, I am on D sharp. All right. Had to pull it back up. All right, if you're going to support it in body systems, look at hormones. Look at the hormone panel. Look at the endocrine system. Look at the respiratory system. Look at the urinary system. Look at the digestive system. The Bach flowers that you're going to want to consider are chestnut bud, clematis, honeysuckle, mustard. And if you're going to support via Cephes, start with hormonal balance, ADR thyroid support, mammary plus detox, kidney, aspartame plus detox, and there we go with the homeopathic that I shall not attempt to do because I don't want to be ridiculed. All right. How many times would you perform an inner voice scan before determining a trend? We're going to get to that at the end of these because I'm going to present you with something to help you with trends. All right. All right. I was a raw vegan organic for only 15 years. Whoa! After reverting to cook organic vegan, I noticed changes in liver, skin, and the digestive system. Yeah. I would love to join you in that, but vegan is about as far as I can go. I would love to go raw vegan, but I shouldn't say I can't do it because I can do anything, right? We can do anything we put our minds to. I just got to put my mind to being a raw vegan and I can do it. I don't think I want to though, but it would be great. All right, back to this class. D sharp, that's how you're going to support D sharp. Let's move down to note E. Note E is self-critical versus self-accepting. And a lot of times when you're dealing with somebody who has this issue, and you'll know if this is showing up on their scan a lot, these are people who they're very, very hard on themselves. I probably fall into that category because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to wanting to present my ideas and wanting to present a class and wanting to get everything right for you all. Like I'm looking at what we're looking at here. This looks ridiculous to me, if I'm being very honest. I was working on the slides so that I could have them ready in time. And I really wish that I started earlier so that I could have made them look better. So when I look at it, now, listen, I've gotten past it to the point that I'm not going to not present it. But I probably will go back and make these things look a lot better and re-upload them at a certain point because the aesthetics of it, I want it to be a little bit more pleasing. Being self-critical, well, first of all, let's look at the areas of the body that show up for that. We're looking at up here, the sinuses, right? The frontal sinuses. We have the spine that's showing. Ironically, the spine doesn't show up on a lot of these things. So this person is probably going to be prone to pain in the back or really needing that chiropractic infoceutical that's inside of the Quantum Wellness Portal for those of you who have those memberships. We have the rib cage and the ribs, chest cavity. We got the pelvis. And so chiropractic might be also, I don't think I have that. Well, you probably are going to see a lot chiropractic adjustments when that person deals with this. But let's look at the information down at the bottom here. Being self-critical can lead to increased tension to the body, affecting the spine and the respiratory system. The stress and anxiety stemming from negative self-talk, often resulting in poor posture and shallow breathing, which can strain spinal alignment and reduce lung capacity. All of what you see at the bottom here is related to the note that you're seeing at the top. So what I'm giving you is information on what happens to a person whose note is constantly out of balance and it's E. Over time, this can contribute to chronic pain and respiratory issues, highlighting the importance of fostering a positive mindset for physical health. All right. Now, how do you support note E? From the vitals, I'm going to suggest you look up and see if you can find things dealing with sinuses. They showing out of balance. Is the spine showing out of balance on the vitals and comprehensive? Finding anything in the rib area, pelvis. Bach flower recommendations are going to be willow, pine, agrimony, crabapple, and clematis. If you're looking in body systems, look in the respiratory system and the musculoskeletal system. And if you are going to support it by Cephis, look at sinus disorders, sinus plus allergy. All right, let me try to tackle this one. Spondylitis. I know that's not it, but I think I said it well enough that I don't feel appalled with myself. Spine joint inflammation and sciatica support. Those are some areas to get you started in Cephi when you noticed a trend in note E. Remember, the emotions and the physical are affecting one another. It's not just the emotional affecting the physical. Sometimes the physical affects the emotion. And sometimes you're dealing with the person. For those of you who were at the last day of discovery, I spoke about this. Sometimes you're dealing with a person that is not ready to deal with their emotional state. They don't even want to admit that they have an emotional state, much less out of balance emotions. Don't feel like if you if you focus on something other than emotions, in this case, the spine or the rib cage or the sinuses, if you focus on those other things, you will still affect the emotions because the frequency can't help but to change when the frequencies that are connected to it change. It can't help itself. It can't be any other way. And so think about it like this. Let me go back over here because it's just popped up in my brain. Everything is a frequency. Corresponding note E is a frequency. The emotion, self-critical versus self-accepting, these are frequencies. And these frequencies vibrate on these body systems. So when the frequencies of the body systems are out of balance, you could get a reaction of the emotions. When the frequencies of the emotions are out of balance, you could get a reaction here. Focus on whatever your practice is, in whatever your practice is focused on if you are a practitioner, or whatever resonates with you if you're not a practitioner, and the other aspect of it cannot help but to be affected. You don't have to do everything. That's note E. Next note is note F. Conditional love versus unconditional love. The body systems affected by note F is a good part of the digestive system. So we have the liver, we have the stomach, and we have the large and small intestine are affected when that is out of balance. And then when we come up here, you have the eyes and the ears. Same frequency. You can support it with color therapy, which would be velvet. We get down, oh, look at this. All right. I have got to stop pressing so many buttons on my iPad because I'm pressing these too fast and I'm getting all kind of things. Hang on, let me pull it back up. Everyone hold on, please. All right, where am I at? All right, note F. The absence of unconditional love can create emotional turmoil, leading to increased stress and anxiety. This emotional strain activates the body's stress response, which can disrupt the digestive system. And you're seeing there, good part of the digestive system. You've got the liver, you've got the stomach, you've got the small and the large intestine. Elevated cortisol level may result in symptoms such as stomach cramps, irritable bowel syndrome, and a general decline in gut health, illustrating the deep connection between emotional well-being and physical function. Now, how do we support this? From vitals, you're going to want to find things in liver, in stomach, small intestine, large intestine, ears, and eyes. If you've determined that note F is a problem, look to see whether or not anything in the vitals supports that. If you decide you want to use Bach flowers, there's only one really here that I'm recommending, and that's chicory. Body systems, look at digestive systems and sensory nervous system. Sensory nervous system is where you're going to find things for the eyes and the ears, all right? And then the digestive system, of course, is going to give you a clue to the large intestine, small intestine, and the liver. That's note F. Note F sharp, angry versus the acceptance of change. That's the frequency of F sharp. All right, so let's look and see what body functions. First thing we see is the brain, right? You have the brain, and then you come down here to the entire digestive system. Looks like you've got some veins and arteries going on there as well. And it looks like maybe some of the spine is highlighted. So these are the areas that are affected by that frequency. Did I read this? Not accepting change in life can lead to chronic stress, which negatively impacts the nervous and the digestive system. This prolonged state can disrupt the balance of neurotransmitters in hormones. I know I didn't read it because I would remember saying neurotransmitters. That's a tackler. In hormones, leading to digestive issues like irritable bowel syndrome and exacerbating conditions like tension headaches. Ultimately, embracing change is essential for maintaining both mental and physical health. I can't state enough. The first thing that you're going to want to do is to listen to your tones. That is the root treatment on all of these. All right, so how do you support F sharp? From the vitals, the entire digestive system, everything in there, liver, kidney. I mean, even kidneys, even though that's not showing up there, everything in the digestive system, the liver, the pancreas, the spleen, the entire nervous system, all of it, the brain, the spine, from vitals and comprehensive. In the body systems section, digestive and nervous systems are the reports that you're going to want to focus on. If you like flower essences, zap up some walnut, some red chestnut, some honeysuckle, maybe put them all together. And if you like Cephis, start with Nerve Easy Plus, Neuroendocrine Support Plus, Magnesia, and then the word that I'm not going to tackle. The next word I'm not going to tackle, and then lemongrass. Lemongrass is great for the nervous system. That, everyone, is F sharp. Let's go down here to G. Now, when you get to G, you have fear versus confidence. And when you zone in on G, you got a lot going on here. You got muscles, you have bones, you have veins, you have arteries. I mean, like it's fear and confidence, and I would say you have kidneys, even though I don't know whether or not. Yeah, I guess these are the kidneys, I think. Or is that adrenals? I think that's adrenals. But when you're dealing with fear, the intense pain that it can cause to the body can be excruciating. A lot of your people dealing with fibromyalgia are going to have out of balance G notes a lot. Lack of confidence can lead to increased stress and anxiety, which in turn can affect the body's circulatory system. Elevated stress levels cause the heart to beat faster and can raise blood pressure, potentially resulting in long-term cardiovascular issues. This psychological response not only strains the heart, but can hinder overall circulation, impacting overall health and vitality. You can support note G by listening to the tones. Listen to the tones and the frequency. Not just the classic tones. You want to listen to the pulsed tones, please. So you get all of the frequencies. You can use red, orange for color therapy. But you can support note G by, in the vitals and comprehensive, see if you're finding things with veins and arteries, muscles, and bones. In the body systems, look at the circulatory system, the musculoskeletal system. Look at Bach flowers, larch, mimulus, and pine. And in Cephis, look at poor circulation, hypertension, circulation support, and cinnamon leaf. All right. Note G sharp. Suppressed emotions versus self-expression. When we zone in, we're looking at what looks like the large intestine. We're looking at what looks like the liver, even though I do not for the life of me understand that shape. And you have the stomach in there. So you're dealing with this, the upper and the lower part of the digestive tract. Suppressed emotion versus self-expression. And then you're going to see this a lot in children that have been called on the spectrum. You're going to see this a lot with people who emotionally don't resonate at the same frequency as the larger society and have a harder time adapting and fitting in because they've been told that they're weird. They've been told that they're different. They've been told that they don't fit in this society when they express themselves. So they stop expressing themselves, suppress that. They stop expressing their emotions. They suppress that. And the frequency has to have power to do something. It goes internally and it starts to disrupt the digestive system. Lack of self-expression can create a buildup of unresolved emotions, leading to chronic stress and anxiety. This emotional strain can disrupt the digestive system, causing issues such as IBS and other gastrointestinal problems. Ultimately, when individuals feel unable to express themselves, the tension within can manifest physically, highlighting the intricate connection between emotional health and digestive function. How are we going to support this? In vitals, large intestine, liver, stomach. If you've got a wand those areas. while looking at them in vitals and comprehensive to determine whether or not you're going to add more to the Cephi category when you get there. If you are looking at body systems, just look at the digestive system chart to see what is there and how it correlates back to the client or yourself or your family member. If you want to use some flower essences or Bach flowers to support this, I recommend larch, mimulus, and pine. If you are going to use some Cephis, I recommend looking at digestion, indigestion 1 and 2. That homeopathic. The next homeopathic. Intestines to flush, intestines inflamed. Now remember, these are just suggestions based off of the overall note. You're going to go in there and make the Cephi that you build based off of what else you're seeing in the report. And then even if you just stay in the inner voice, because it shows you the vitals in the inner voice that are connected to the note. The vitals in the bottom portion are connected to that person and connected to the note. So shows you it's almost like, okay, what's really important here to that note. All right, how many more do we have left? Looks like we have 1. So looks like we got 3 more. What time is it? All right, I'm almost an hour in, so I'm going to move a little bit faster. Let me, though, come down here because I thought I saw some questions. Yeah, I'm having all sorts of issues over here because my window for questions is gone. All right, let me see if I can get it back. All right, there it is. All right, let me see if there are any more. This is great how you've broken it down for each note. So basically, you can make a playlist for each note and add the Bach flowers and homeopathics. You suggested that, yes. But, and you can do this in advance, right? But when you get yourself or your daughter or son or mother or client, and their report is showing something extra, just go in there and copy that, duplicate it, or just add it to that particular playlist so that when you're making your Cephi for that person, you got your foundational Cephi, and then add in, oh, well, they also need this and they also need that, or the liver is really showing that it needs more support. So absolutely, you can break it down for each note. I wasn't even going to say that, but I'm glad you did because it's absolutely correct. So I'm, Brigitte, if I'm saying your name right, I am dedicating that portion of it all to you. She's the one who brought that to us. All right. I don't know what that means, Pearl. Oh, were you asking a question earlier? I'm sorry. I've come so far in the class, I forgot where we were. All right, let's break out the rest of these notes because I got something for the people who are sitting in the class, because what I'm showing you right now is what the notes all mean and how to put them all together, but you gotta figure out how to figure out the trends. And that's the thing that I'm really excited about. All right, the next note is note A. Note A is rigid beliefs versus open to possibilities. The area that we're looking at here is the mouth, the throat, the lungs. We get arteries, we have muscles, and blood vessels. Well, those are the areas that are affected when you are dealing with somebody who has a lot dealing with note A. Now, the frequency of note A from an emotional standpoint is rigid beliefs versus open to possibilities. And having very rigid beliefs can lead to chronic stress and tension within the body, as the mind's repetitive focus on these inflexible areas can trigger a constant state of anxiety. I had a personal experience with a family member recently, and this family member was experiencing some issues, and I was able to help them with the AO scanner, but they didn't understand what I was doing. They didn't disapprove of what I was doing. They just didn't have a clear understanding of what I was doing. And what they later told me after thanking me for the relief that they got was that had they understood the concept of sending and receiving frequencies in order to figure out what's going on and to figure out where you're going to send frequencies in order to resolve it, had they understood that, they would have probably rejected the treatment or been offended that the treatment was offered because they were experiencing real pain. And that is where you get into rigid beliefs versus open to possibilities, because when you are dealing with rigid beliefs, now I don't think that this person was not closed to the idea of quantum entanglement. This person just was not in a state where they were thinking that this was going to help them at the speed that it has helped them. That's what we're dealing with here. And when you're dealing with rigid and open to possibilities, when you get yourself to the other side, being more open to possibilities, your healing actually happens faster. Now, in this person's case, he wasn't closed to possibilities. In this person's case, he just didn't know that this was possible, so he didn't know to close the door. Sometimes ignorance can be bliss. How do you support Note A? From the vital standpoint, you're looking at the mouth. You're looking at the throat. You're looking at the lungs. You're looking at the arteries. You're looking at the muscles. You're looking at the blood vessels. There's a lot that goes on here with Note A. Body systems, you're going to look at the circulatory system, the respiratory system, the endocrine system. Flowers, you're going to look at white chestnut and beech. White chestnut is mental arguments. Beech is just being unwilling to accept things. In the Cephi, you want to go to hormonal balance, female endocrine support if you're dealing with a woman, hypertension circulatory support, her endocrine support if you're dealing with a male or female, neuroendocrine support plus. And I guess that last one is where I forgot to hit the back button one more time before I got out of there. That's supporting Note A. All right, we got two more. If you're sitting here in the class, if you have questions, go ahead and raise your hand now so that I could get to that right before I present to you some ideas on how to grasp that. So if you're in class and you actually have a question that you want to ask, go ahead and put the hand raise up now just so I can get to you immediately after these next two notes. The next note is A sharp. Conflicting beliefs versus congruent belief. Now, if you see rigid beliefs open to possibilities, it's very similar to this. And what we're looking at here is the mouth, got the lungs, you have the liver, and you have the small intestine and the large intestine, and then you have ovaries and testes down there again. All right. Conflicting beliefs can create chronic stress, which adversely affects the digestive system and hormonal balance. When the mind is preoccupied with rigid ideas, it triggers the body's stress response, leading to increased cortisol levels and digestive issues like bloating or IBS. This ongoing tension not only disrupts normal hormone regulation, but can also result in emotional distress, highlighting the importance of adopting a more flexible mindset for overall well-being. These are the areas that are affected when Note A is out of balance. Support it with the tones. You can support it with the color yellow. And if you decide to support it further by looking at vitals and comprehensive, see if you are finding things for mouth, for throat, for lungs, for liver, for small intestine, for ovaries, for testes. If you are a body systems person, look at the hormone panel. Look at endocrine system report. Look at digestive system report. I can't stress enough. If you're not a body systems person, still run that scan. Just don't look at it, because you get all of the benefits of optimization. You want to optimize whether you're paying attention or not. I only recommend one Bach flower for this, which is rock water. And if you are looking at Cephis, poor circulation, hypertension, circulation support, that's one, sorry. Cinnamon leaf pops back up here again for me. Arteries hardening of and psychosis detox miasm. Those are going to be things to look at when A sharp is showing out of balance. All right, we're on our last one, which is note B. Low self-esteem versus self-esteem or accepting self. Look at the areas that are showing up. We got the thyroid, we got the thymus, we've got the adrenal glands, we've got ovaries and testes. Looks like we got a little bit more down here. I don't know even what that should be. But let's look at this particular frequency and how it can affect the body. The frequency of low self-esteem, that is. Low self-esteem can significantly impact hormone levels in the body, as feelings of inadequacy and worthlessness often lead to chronic stress. This ongoing stress triggers the release of cortisol, or hormone associated with anxiety and depression, which can disrupt the balance of other hormones like estrogen and testosterone. See, this is powerful in that it shows you what physically can happen in your body just by a thought. And when you know that, you'll realize how strong thoughts are. For those of you who are Bible readers, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word and God, there's an equal sign going on. The Word was with God. The Word was God. That the Word was elevated to the power of God. And what is a word? A word is a thought that has been spoken or written down. Everything begins with a thought. Everything. And anything, like, look around your room. Everything that you see started with a thought. You started with a thought, if we're being honest. You started with a thought. Somebody looked at somebody else and had a thought. And next thing you know, you're here 9 months later. Everything begins with that. Over time, these hormonal imbalances can affect mood, energy levels, and overall health, highlighting the importance of nurturing a positive self-image. All right. How do you support note B? From the vitals and the comprehensive, you're going to look at thyroid. You're going to look at thymus. You're going to look at adrenal glands. You're going to look at the ovaries and testes. If you're able to wand these areas, do that. If you're able to use red light on those areas, do that. If you like body systems, you're going to look at hormones panel, and you're going to look at the endocrine system. If you're a Bach flower person, you're going to look at Centauri, Serato, and Elm. And if you want to build a Cephi playlist, thymus gland stimulator, thyroid issues, adrenal thyroid support, ADR thyroid support, neuroendocrine support plus, and thyroid enome. I know I didn't say that right, but you get the point. And that is how you support note B. So now we've gone through all of the notes. For the people who are in the classroom, you telling me that nobody has any questions. Now, literally every time I finish with an area, there are questions. There's nobody who wants to raise their hand before I move on to ask anything. You were able to grasp it all. There was nothing left undone, nothing left unsaid. Nobody wants to come on and say anything. All right. Thank you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth has a question. Elizabeth, come pop in here. Unmute yourself, please. Hey.
Hey. The only question I had, everything was so great. Just
Thank
like ding, 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 ding. Fear versus confident and suppressed emotions versus self-expression. You had the same Bach flowers. Was that meant to be?
Yep.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
because
make sure.
The frequency is very similar to one another.
Okay. Thank you.
That's
you.
It. All right. All right, Elizabeth. All right. Here, let me remove. All right. Nobody else has any questions? All right. So here we go with, I'm sorry. One quick thing, because I know that people, the class is almost over. The people who are watching, there are some people who might want to join us in class. And right before I get to the surprise for the people who are in the class, because unfortunately, this part's just for them. I mean, I'm not going to cut it off, but this part's just for them. If you decide you might want to join, well, if you don't want to join us, I hope that you're able to grasp something from that. Inner voice is everything. We are in, I think, the final week that the AO Scanner course is going to be what it is. We're at the lowest price that it's ever going to be, and we've added a new section to the course that's going to come up. Well, it's actually going to be a whole new course, so you would be able to get in that. But I'm going to teach a class on the hub. So those of you all who have the hub, I'm going to talk about the hub with light therapy and meridians and how to utilize the hub in your home or in practice. If you are in this class, it'll just be part of it. After this deal closes, though, you will have to buy that separately. All right. So if you decide you might possibly want to join us in class, here's how this works. We've already had part 1. You've missed it, but all of the archives are there. We started out with energy medicine and inner voice and vitals and comprehensive, how to use the quick scan, part 1, how to use easy scan, how to use Cephi and master that, imprinting and broadcasting, how to understand the body systems, how using mind sync and how to combine it with inner voice. That's part 1. We are now finally getting into part 2, which is inner voice part 2. Let's dig in. That's where we are right now. Next week, everything that we did with the inner voice report, we are going to do that with all of the meridians next week. So we're going to go through each meridian. I'm going to show you, let me look at you when I say this. I'm going to show you the path of the meridian so you can see where the meridian travels through the body. I'm going to show you where which muscles are affected by which meridians when you determine that there's a trend. And then I'm going to show you where the source points are on the body for you to support the meridian with red light therapy or acupressure. And I'm going to show you where the point is on the ear. The ear is mapped out and there are specific points on the ear for each one of the meridians. And I'm going to show you where that point is. And we're also going to delve into the chakras and for those of you who want to balance things that way. Just like I'm showing you how to balance things via the inner voice, you can say, well, you know what? I love meridians because that's what I'm a meridian therapist. I like balancing things by the meridians. If that resonates with you, I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, so we just added the AO Hub class. Everybody who is a part of this class will automatically get the AO Hub class as part of it. You won't have to purchase that separately. We're going to talk about understanding the lasers and understanding lights, understanding the CES portion that goes on the ear and why that's important, understanding each program inside of the hub. And then I'm going to teach you how to use the hub with inner voice and mind sync. And for those of you who have subscription to the Quantum Wellness Portal, you'll be able to correlate the two. All right. So how do you do that? You can join us. When you join us, if you decide to join us, you can catch up on all past classes. This is as low as it's going to get. It's $195 right now. This will be the last time that this is available at this price. And the AO Hub course will be included if you hop in now. Regularly, it's going to be $350. Right now, it's $195. Most of you are probably already on that website, drdarrellwellness.com/peak. You can purchase the course now and join us. You can catch up on everything that we've already done because the archives are there and you will be able to remain with us throughout. All right. So that is how you would join us. All right. So I am very, very excited about this. One of the things that is important to me is supporting your ability to track your trends. I don't just want to tell you that trends are important, but how do you track them? Now, a lot of people in their they pull up the Excel spreadsheet and they try to put things together. And some people love Excel. I can tell you, I'm not one of those people. I don't love Excel. I dislike Excel. I almost want to say I hate Excel, except I think that's a referencing an out of balance emotion that I don't want to give to myself. I don't like Excel at all. However, if everything is already in Excel, sometimes I can deal with it. And so I'm going to present to you an Excel spreadsheet that will help you track your inner voice. And for those of you who are in the membership or who have the class, the Excel spreadsheet is going to grow as we're doing things. And so, I'll always let you know when there's a new version there for you to go and grab another one. All right. But this is what it looks like. So I want to make this, I hope that you guys can see this. On the left side, there are dates. And then there are all of the notes that are sitting there. All of the notes are there, right? So how do you use this Excel spreadsheet? Well, first of all, I've already filled in some fictitious things. Every time you do your AO scan, every time you do your inner voice, you're going to come up with 4 notes. All you do is put the date here on the line and then put an X in whichever 4 notes came up for you that day. So in here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. And if you look all the way over to the right, zoom in on this a little bit. All right, let me zoom out because I'm liable to mess this up completely. If you look all the way over to the right, according to this particular chart, C is showing up as one of my 4 notes 100% of the time. Now, let me not get ahead of myself. C sharp is not showing up at all yet. It never shows up so far. D shows up 20% of the time. D sharp, however, shows up 80% of the time. E shows up 0% of the time. F shows up 60% of the time. F sharp shows up 60% of the time. G, 0. G sharp, 0. A, 40% of the time. A sharp, 0. B, 40% of the time. Now, when you do just one, of course it's going to say it shows up 100% of the time because you only have one. But the more that you put in here, it's like the spreadsheet is learning your body because this goes all the way down to 100. So by the time you get to 100, way before you get to 100, you really are learning which scan is showing up for you more and more. And then when you get down to 100, what do? You just come back up here to the top and you start all over again. You don't erase anything. You start all over again and all of the things autocorrect. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So let me put in today's date. I'm going to go down here to today and I'm going to put what is today? All right. So I've already screwed this up because I put the 13th and the 14th. But let's pretend like today's the 15th. Why don't we? Let's get into fairy tale land. Because we live in the United States of America, most of us, and there's a lot of fairy tale stuff going on over here. So let us pretend like it's the 15th. So I'm going to say 1/15. I've just created that line. 1/15, it automatically supports itself. And I am going to put in, today C sharp came up. I'm just going to put an X here. And I am going to put an X in F. and I'm going to put an X in G, and I'm going to put an X in B. Every time I do that and I move, you will see the percentages on the right change. So now I'm out of there, and C# before had 0. Now it automatically has 17%. What else had 0? G had 0% before, and now G has 17%. I forgot what F had. I think it was 80%. It was, yeah, no, it wasn't. It was 67%. Or it was 60%, I believe, and it went up to 67%. And I am going to go down here to the 17th. And I'm going to just make another date and say it's the 17th, right? And what is my highest number? C. C is at 71% of the time it's showing up. I'm just going to put another X in here. And you see it just raised to 86%. I'm going to put another, right now C# is at 14%. I'm going to put another X in here, get out of that tab. And C# has now raised to 29%. I'm going to put another X in D#. D# is at 57%, but when I get out of there, it raises to 71%. And because there's going to always be 4, I'm going to go down here to B, and I'm going to put an X here. B is showing at 43%, and when I get out of it, it raises to 57%. So in real time, you're able to determine what trends are affecting your body. So looking back at this, I'm able to tell my biggest factor is the note C. And because, this isn't real, this is all imaginary, but if that's the case, I'm now going to go back over here and I'm going to find note C. Now, in this instance, I've already determined that C is a problem for me. It's at 86%. C is something that I am having issues with. C is something that my body, the frequency that C rides on, is problematic for me. So I'm going to go back over here and grab my C#, unacknowledged versus self-validated. I'm looking at that. How do I support note C? Since I've now determined that, I am going to say, well, how do I want to support it? Now, I like flower essences a lot. And I'm probably going to make up a batch of flower essence, and I'm probably just going to go ahead and put all 4 of those in. Heather, chicory, willow, holly. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to say, this is great. If I decide I want to look at vitals, I'm going to look at shoulders, thyroid, heart, small intestine. See whether or not I can find something in there. If I want to look at the body systems, this is what I'm going to look at. If I'm building a Cephi, are my shoulders stiff? They kind of are. So here's what I'm going to put in here. And I am looking at, now let me go back over here for a second. Great, questions are coming in. I see it now. Now I'm excited. What's next? 86%. And then my second highest is D#, which is at 71%. Well, let's find D#. Where is D# down the list? All right, D#, emotionally disconnected versus emotionally integrated. Are these areas of my body, are they manifesting right now? If they are, I might take the wand and go at it. If they're not, then I might do some color therapy. I'm going to do the tones regardless. I'm going to go down here to vitals. If I decide that I want to look at my vitals and look a little bit deeper, these are the areas. I might make up a custom blend Bach flower utilizing these. Same thing with the Cephis. Same thing with the body systems. We don't need to beat a dead horse over this because the concept is going to be the same. Use the chart in order to determine what's out of balance. How many do you need to determine what's out of balance? I'm going to say 4 or more. And then we will look at that and start going. But the more you do this, the more you will figure out what your body is actually saying. Now, Kathy put up her hand and she thought that she was going to be slick and put it down. And she thought that I wasn't going to notice, but I did notice. So I'm bringing Kathy in here. Even if I answered your question, go ahead and ask it again for me, please.
Well, I think I was getting all lost, I guess, in which came first, the chicken or the egg, whether the whole thing about where it's something in your body creating the emotional thing was a new concept to me. And I've just been kind of gelling on that throughout the class. And so I thought, okay, so you're doing this little thing. How do you know? And maybe it doesn't really matter. And I'm thinking from what you said, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
But you see all this stuff in your chart, and how do you know if it's coming from emotional or physical? And so I guess you're right. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Just find what resonates with you and support it that way. And because all of it rides on the same frequency, everything on that frequency is affected when you support that frequency. So these are all different ways to support that frequency. And all of these things are manifestations of that frequency. So whichever way you decide to hit it. And that's, and when we get that portion of it, we can look at AO scanners so much differently, because so many people are saying, well, I don't understand comprehensive, or I don't understand vitals, or I got to find this portion of vitals to match this portion of comprehensive. It's all frequency, and whatever is resonating with you, it cannot help. When you're in a car, if for some reason a little critter crawls into the trunk, it's coming along with you. You may not see it. You may not know that it's there. You may not be focused on it, and you might be glad you don't know that it's there. But the reality is it's sharing the same car with you. So it's riding with you from one destination to the other, and it's getting the benefit of the travel. Okay. Frequency is the same way.
Makes sense.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Sorry for putting Kathy on the spot, but I knew she could take it, and I knew that she would not yell at me. All right. I'm going to come down here to typed questions, because that seems to be moving fast and furious. All right. Hang on. Oh, there's a lot. So I got to go back up here, everybody. Give me just a minute. This is why I didn't have a lot of hands. I got you, Debbie. Thank you. All right. When you say you want to look at this or that in the vitals or comprehensive or body system, what do you mean? Are you looking at specific areas that might be out of the frequencies? What I'm saying is, let's look at this. So this is note D sharp. And I'm saying that if you are a vitals or comprehensive person, if you're one of those people that wants to look in the comprehensive section to determine things, then just look and see whether or not you're seeing things with thyroid, things with ovaries and testicles, things with lungs, 1s and 9s, or look at your easy scan to see whether or not anything is showing up, because 1s and 9s, or excuse me, easy scan is just showing you what 1s and 9s that couldn't balance themselves, and see whether or not there's anything with lungs or liver or kidney. So you'll know where to support, how to support, or what Cephis to add. If you've determined that note D sharp is out of balance, these are the areas of the body systems report, or these are the body systems report that you might focus on. That's what I mean. I mean that if you're going to investigate further than just doing the tones, I'm giving you something to focus on so that you're not necessarily all over the place. All right. All right, give me 1 second. I lost my place here, and I have to find it. Oh, that's why. If you're a member of the portal, the whole AO class is included, correct? Yeah, if you're a member of the core, every class that I do is included, yeah. all of this. Brigitte loves Excel. Hoo, hoo, hoo. God bless you. I might need to hire you at some point. What a great way to track trends. Thank you. You're welcome. Can you download this spreadsheet? I love me a good spreadsheet. If you are in the class, yes, it will be listed there in the module with this. Everything is, all of the modules are listed by what class it is. And this will be Inner Voice, whatever week we're on, it'll say Inner Voice Part 2. And the download to the spreadsheet will be there. All right. Janelle is thanking me. Thank you. For guests, if you're interested in joining, yeah, hey, join us. But, you know, even if they're not interested in joining, understanding inner voice is my goal here, is what I really want people to grasp. When you start with a fresh set after addressing these yourself, I think you're trying to say, would you start with a fresh set? No, I would not ever start with a fresh set. So this is what I do. I would create a copy every time, like just a blank, keep one as blank, and then create a copy. And then when you're dealing with clients, just create a, just make a duplicate and name it. The reason why you don't want to start fresh, let me go here. So this is going to go all the way down to 100 or 101. Why? Technically 101 is the 100th part. Why aren't you seeing this? Oh, you are. So when you get to the 101st, it's full, right? And it has your life history. It has so many things in there that the percentages are better than they have ever been because you have given it so much information. What I want you to do at that point is go back up to to your first entry and exit. How do you say it in Excel? Highlight everything, hit delete, and then put in the new date, right? Because when you do that, what you're doing is changing the percentage again. So that's going to allow you to know when your trends are changing. Because if you fill this thing up and then you start over, you're starting over from learning your system. It's not really learning your system because it's math, but you're starting over again from it having enough data to really give you a comprehensive idea. And now you're equipping it with enough data to forever give you ideas. Now, some people are going to want to save a copy just so they can always look back to know what they were last year and know what they were the year before. But if you are blessed to fill this thing up, save yourself a copy and then go back up to the first line and just start going back down again. Because what you want is the percentages on the right to be a real running total of your body chemistry. I hope that makes sense. All right. Once you join the portal, it gives you access to all previous lessons and other masterminds that he's done before. That's true. Yeah. But right now, we're actually not accepting new portal members. If they're not a member of the portal at this point, the only option at this moment is to purchase the class. And they will be first in line for membership when the portal reopens. All right. Would you recommend starting the spreadsheet every 7 days and then starting over? Never start over. I know that I answered it already, but yeah, I would recommend, Debbie, never starting over. All right, Kathy loves Excel too. I'm the weirdo here. Could you put the slide for what supports D? I was taking a pic and the ideas. Well, it looks like you're in Zoom, Kathy, which means you're a part of the course. So you're gonna get it, but hang on. What was it? Supports D. It's D sharp. All right, so here's D. Throat, liver, digestion. Body systems is digestive system, respiratory system. Bach flowers are rescue remedy, sweet chestnut, rock rose, and star of Bethlehem. And then these are the Cephis. All right, so that's that. All right, let me come back down here to comments. Dr. Darrell, do we only delete the first one or every single? No. Only delete where you're at. So once you've completed this and you come back up, only delete where you're at. So whatever line you are in, and you'll be able to tell by the dates, because let's just say you do this and by the time you complete that, now you are in August. What's going to happen is you're going to see August 1st, August 2nd, August 3rd, and then you're going to see January 14th, And so you'll know that's where you're at. It'll be real easy because the dates will have changed so dramatically. So yeah, only delete the line that you're refilling in. That's all you got to do. All right. Kathy says, thanks. You're welcome. You are welcome. All right. So that is our class. Yes, it maxes out at 100. But again, save a copy for yourself and just go back up and do it. All right. Any other questions before we go? How long have I kept you all today? So some of you have been here for over 2 hours. Sorry about that. But I am very happy. Oh, wait, you know what? I'm not done. So here's your assignment, because you're going to get the chart. Look at this. There's in tabs. First of all, let me say this. I have looked and this works in Google Sheets. So for those of you all who don't have an Excel account or Excel, this will work in Google Sheets. I've done it. But look, you also have in the tab meridians. You can do the same thing for your meridians. The same concept applies. I'm telling you this, and you have access to the meridians part. This is what you're getting. And now you will be able to see what your meridians are showing, and this will give you a head start on next week's class. So by the time we get to next week's, you have the meridians. For those of you all who don't know Excel very well, they're just different tabs at the bottom. And so when you put in here for the meridians, over here to the right, it's showing that I only have 2 in here. So 100% of the time, the lung meridian has shown up. How do you do the meridians? Let me briefly go over this, because if you all are going to be playing in this, it's only fair to tell you. There are 2 different ways that I'm going to teach you how to do meridians. One way will be, let me pull up a scan. Anybody who has to go, I understand. I'm not mad at you. But I got excited here, and I want to go over this. All right. Let me come back over here. Let me look at meridians. So there are 2 different ways that I'm going to teach you about doing this. One way will be if something is a double blue or a double red. In this case, this is me. I only had 1 double, and that is governing vessel. So in that case, you would put the date on the line, and you would just, put an X on the governing vessel, put an X on in this case, just the 1, but put an X on whatever came up as double red or double blue, because that's showing not enough energy or too much energy. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you a base idea of what's showing out of balance. I think I'm going to add another tab to this by next week. So I think that by next week, we're already going to upgrade it. I think I want 2 meridian trackers on there, because the other way would be to put an X in when just one thing was a red or a blue. Why would you do that? That allows you to look a little bit deeper into the body when things aren't obvious. Meaning, if something is always red, but the balancing frequencies allows the meridian to balance, it also could be important. Now, if something is always red or blue and the balancing frequencies never gets it to balance or rarely gets it to balance, that's very important. But it might be more important to find out what's regularly thrown out of balance or what regularly starts out of balance if you are going to start supporting the meridians individually so that you can figure it out. I'll go more into that next week. Use this chart this week in whichever way you decide that you want to do. The most simplistic way would be to just utilize it for when things constantly stay out of balance. But the more I think about it, the more I don't think that that's really going to show full body chemistry, because what you want to know in the long run is what's regularly out of balance to begin with, even if the frequency does bring it back into balance. Hope that makes sense. And also what you have on here is the chakra tab. All of these are the exact same concept. If there is a chakra that is double ones, double nines, then you can put the X there. Or you might want to do it if they are just one, meaning they started out of balance or they couldn't get put back into balance. I'm going to think this over, and I think I'll probably have 2 more tabs on there next week, actually. When I have a double for chakras, a double for meridians. But I don't think I'll be changing anything about the inner voice. All right? So I see a lot of things typed. I suspect it's just comments, though. Let me look to make sure. All right, Lynn says, amazing as always, thank you. Our iPhone user says, beautiful, thank you. Courtney, thank you so much, Dr. Darrell. See, you guys are so sweet. See, this niceness is going to get you everything. This is going to make me just throw away the horse. Thank you. It looks like you have a tab for Meridian and Chakras also. See, Brigitte noticed it, and I almost left the class without even bringing it up. Thank you, and thank you. All right. Well, everybody approves. So, listen, I was ridiculously excited to teach tonight's class, and I'm equally as excited to teach next week's class because Meridian therapy is very, very close to my heart. Is what I do in my practice, is what I do all day long, and I want to teach you why meridians are so valuable and so important. All right. I will get this uploaded tonight. I will get the class uploaded, and you will get the file uploaded. Go crazy. Have fun. Get your trends. Go back, find old scans and put them in there if you want to, and find out what your trends have been. I email every scan that I do to myself, so I have I literally could go back and do this. I didn't have time today. But yeah, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all, and I will see you all next week. If you are more, somebody's asking what's more of a priority, chakras or meridians? There is no answer to that question. The priority is whatever's resonating with you. And that is really, and I'm not saying that this is an easy concept to get, but this goes all the way down the line with everything. Whatever you decide that you want to use to balance the body, it's not more or less important than another thing. That is the whole point of all of this. And I am working on a way to get you something very similar for vitals and comprehensive. So you know that we have that little chart where you put a check mark in there. Now, you're still going to need to use that chart, but I'm working on a way to make you bring that chart to life so that at the end of each time of doing that, you'll be able to hopefully toss it away because you'll be able to put check marks inside of there and then watch your trends grow and grow and grow. Until Solex gets us a better way to do it, I have made it my goal, since you all trust me if you trusted me for whatever reason, I made it my goal to do that. All right. I've babbled enough. Thank you all. I'll see you all soon. Have a wonderful night.